Today's presentation will focus on MCSGP process, and we will introduce to you the GMP scale skids we have developed now at YMC Process Technology. These skids are HPLC skids, and they can also operate traditional batch operation as needed. Again, there are a number of webinars posted where you can get more in details about the cube and the capture SMB. And so let me now start with the MCSGP process. In traditional HPLC purification, we have a problem concerning productivity. In analytical HPLC, we are striving for baseline separation, but this is not very productive, needs a lot of solvents. So to reduce the solvent needs in purposive HPLC, loads, injections are overloaded, but then there are product-related or process-related impurities eluding with our main peak. So we have to make a trade-off, either having a high pure product as shown on the upper left side, or we have more polluted product, but we have higher yields. And this trade-off we try to overcome with the MCSGP technology. And as you can see in this plot here, outlined very, very nicely, you know, what the capability of a batch process is. You know, either high purity or high yield in the process. And with the MCSGP, we can come to a point where we maintain the high purity and keep a high yield, and that means we have a high productivity in our process and need less solvents for the purification step. Again, you see on the left side our traditional batch HPLC process, where we usually discard the front and the back side fraction which are higher polluted with process or product related impurities, and we only collect the main peak with the high purity. Sometimes in batch chromatography, folks collect this fraction with higher impurity and then do an extra load at the end of the run. But with the MCSGP process, we can now automate this internal recycling of the impure product fraction in the front and in the back of the main peak. We also can apply in this internal an linear gradient or gradient formation in the elution. And again, this is an automated process where it does not need any interaction of an operator to proceed in the process. It's all programmed, as you will see later in the presentation. MCSGP, the meaning of the acronym reflects the capability of the functionality, which means multi-column. We are running with 2 columns, solvent gradient, purification process. Again, details you can find in related webinars. I want to show on this slide the peptide purification pegylated molecules were purified applying the MCSGP process. It is also applied to oligonucleotide purification, as we have shown in other case studies, or peptide separation. In a case study, we could show the advancement of the MCSGP process from oligonucleotide purification, and here clearly the productivity was improved by more than twice the initial batch operation. The yield of the process increased from 60 to over 90%, and buffer could be reduced by 70%, which is very important when we are running with organic buffers. And also, if you think about this improvement, what does it mean for my overall process? So I have a higher productivity. So either I can scale down my upstream process to a smaller synthesis process or fermentation process, or I can reduce the downstream needs. So for instance, instead of using a 60 centimeter ID column, the process can be run with two 30 centimeter ID columns, which then also reduces the needs of the packing materials. In this case, it was a significant reduction down to 15 liters instead of 70 liters, which also means you need to reduce, you can reduce the needs for the skid sizes and the pump requirements for your process. And this is a significant reduction. Half of the flow rate is needed, and if we can reduce the footprint of our skids, this is important for our customers. And that leads me to our second speakers, Matt Bowie, who will introduce to you our GMP scale skid in more detail and highlight the specific functionalities of this unique novel system.
The first step, let's go through the P&ID of the systems. We have 4 pumps here. Pump A and C are dedicated for gradient. D are for solvent and dilution. All of them are capable of operating at up to 100 bar design and 80 bar operation. We try to achieve symmetrical design with minimum whole volume so that the MCSGP can implement successfully, because we have 2 identical columns, and the pipeline have to be identical between these 2 runs. We also have several sensors and valves. Those are all dynamically controlled by the pattern and control. A standard, we offer 3 different models with the flow rate up to 8.33 liters per minute and column ID up to 45 centimeters. In terms of technical compliance, the system comes as standard for class 1 disk 2. So that allows you to run different hazardous buffers and flammable buffers with ease. We also can provide an option for CE conformity, including ATEX Zone 2. Automation-wise, we can support 21 CFR Part 11 and also enable GAMFI compliance. So the system is designed for GMP operation and validation, and our team at YMC can help you to do that. When you walk around the system, you can notice several key components that make the MCSGP process possible. You can see the HMI here, the pulse unit for hazardous location. We have 2 pH and 2 conductivity on top of the system, 2 UV sensors here, and a cluster of 20 fast-acting valves in this area. We have 20 inlet valves across 4 pumps, and the pumps are special for this application because we have a combination between stroke adjust and servo motors on pump A, C, and D. I want to highlight the first key component, which is the pumps. We have 4 pumps in the system, and 3 of them have servo motors and stroke adjust. So this combination provides capability for the pump to run at very wide range. The highest flow, the ratio between the highest flow and the lowest flow can up to 190. So with that specification, you can run very shallow or steep gradient and at the same time achieve very good linearity. And these have been tested for 80 bar operating pressure with no problem. The second component I want to highlight is the fast-acting valve. You can see these are compact, very compact compared to the rest of the skid, and we stack them, 20 valves of them in this area. And in that way, the distance between the columns and the valve are minimal. So that optimizes for whole volume very low. The construction of the valve is very simple. yet it's very robust and operating very fast. This one has been tested and proven for over 500,000 cycles, and that's enough for almost 10 years of continuous operation 24/7 with the valve switching every 5 minutes. All other components in the system are all from major brands with global availability and service, Leica and Redhauser, etc. MCSGP process is very sophisticated, and we try to make it very simple and user-friendly with our automation platform here. These are factory talk platform, and you can see we have all information that you can imagine in the main screen. You can see it's very intuitive, and you can access different buttons at the bottom here that allow you to have a very quick access to different functions in systems such as totalizer, column management, engineering screen where you have high-level tools and configuration for engineering levels. Event, this is the event screen, and it's very important, this is a trend screen where you can configure different pens with different colors, different range, etc. I want to point out at how easy to create a recipe with our automation platform. You can easily drag and drop different symbols into the work area here. Noticeably, you can see there's a 2 sequence running at the same time. So we call it parallel recipe. Column 1 can run elution, column 2 can run gradient. And you can also loop it with different conditions here. And when you run the MCSGP process, you can see that we have a lot of data because one batch can last for hours or days. But we handle the report, which usually can be very long and take minutes or almost 20 minutes to generate with our self-developing reporting tools. Even the long batch, it can still generate in just 5 seconds. The MCSGP process can run for days or hours. You don't want to wait until the end to know what's happening or what has happened with your process. So our tools can generate the report instantly. So either it's for single cycle or multiple cycle at any time. You can also configure the report to include performance, also transition and peak analysis in this tool. Many of you have been familiar with the cube for lab scale, and with the new system for MCSGP in GMP scale, we believe that you can take your chromatography process and production to a new level.
Immediate questions you would like to ask the speakers directly, you can just send those to us at info@ymcpt.com. That's info@ymcpt.com. This is one in a series of about 15 webinars around these topics of multi-column chromatography and the purification of advanced proteins. We'll end our session now. Thank you and have a pleasant day.